looking at Samantha Briggs as the athletes introduce themselves. Let's listen in. Dave Castro, moving right by Kristen Clever.
Val Mackenzie Voberil, Dogtown. Globo Gym USA. Huh? Jessica Pamanian. Christy Phillips, CrossFit MPH. Kate Rawlings, CrossFit Cleveland.
Lauren Roberts, CrossFit New Zealand.
Lindsay Smith, CrossFit Central.
Annie Thorstadter, Bootcamp.
Stacy Tovar, CrossFit Omaha.
Rebecca Voigt, Valley CrossFit.
Rebecca Voigt has a few fans there. Did we skip right over
And your
Kristen
first place
Clever?
competitor after one event.
Oh, Kristen Clever is
Hi.
is busy socializing,
Kristen Clever, Valley CrossFit.
enjoying her morning, talking to the judges and everybody else, and what she's doing is wishing all of her other competitors good luck. This is one of the athletes who really means it, too. She wants to see everybody out there put in their best performance. She would be one of the athletes, if she gets beaten at some point this weekend, would be the first one to run up and congratulate that other athlete on their performance, and would be happy to see somebody else from her own gym or the community do better than she does, because she puts everything into every workout and every event, and if somebody is able to beat her, that's because they were able to do that as well, and she's happy to see that sort of performance.
I think so many class acts here in the CrossFit community of people that could be side by side competing with each other, yet in the next minute be cheering each other on and congratulating each other. We saw that with Kristen last night, staying on the stadium platform with other athletes who hadn't finished, cheering them on, encouraging them through their muscle ups.
And we're just hearing from our colleagues down in the control room that we have several athletes down in the medical tent, of course, severe hand tears. This is, for lack of a better way of saying it, hell on the hands. Hell on the hands? Hell on the hands? Is that the new workout?
Sounds great. Maybe we'll dub new name.
63 kettlebell swings just in the first leg alone of this workout, followed by 36 pull-ups. And it was hard on the hands, a lot of chalk necessary, and of course it is warmer and warmer. These athletes are sweating. They need that chalk on their hands, and it is going to stick to the equipment at some point.
1 minute.
That is Dave Castro announcing the 1 minute mark. There are a lot of athletes in this particular heat, and again, some of the best-known athletes in the CrossFit community. We're talking about the likes of Heather Bergeron, China Cho, Kristen Clever, of course, the #1 athlete coming into this event. But again, it
Final
is going
women's
to be
heat
very
for
tough,
this workout.
at least on the
30 seconds remaining.
portion of this workout, to match the performance by Samantha Briggs out of the UK. And again, I think I spoke too soon saying that the last heat was perhaps the most international of the heats we'd likely see. We have in this heat athletes from Iceland and New Zealand, opposite points of the earth. We have an athlete from Quebec, Canada. We have people from Texas.
Go.
We have it all.
And just a shout out too to Jessica Pamanian from the Northeast, who's in this heat. She's been CrossFitting at a Globo gym just since January, and came and rocked out at our Northeast regional qualifier, and is clearly standing her own.
And now, as we kick off the third and final heat of this particular event on the second day of the CrossFit Games, we will throw things down to Miranda, who is standing by with the leader at this point. Miranda.
Hey guys, I'm down here with Samantha Briggs. Just completely blew that first place time from the first WOD, or the first heat, out of the water for this second individual workout. Your pace on the run was super impressive. I didn't think you were going to be able to keep that up. Samantha, where are you from?
I'm from England, UK.
CrossFit Central, Manchester, is that correct?
Yeah, that's correct. Central Manchester.
Now, I'm assuming you like to run.
Well, I knew on this event, running's my strong point and strength's my weak point, so I had to try and make up some ground on this event. So I just had to give it everything on the run and then try my best on the shoulder to overhead.
Yeah, she was telling me that she's used to kilograms, so converting the pounds was a little tough, but you just did an awesome job. You must be really excited. That's going to move you up, I'm sure. And we're going to send it back to the booth with Marty.
All right, thank you so much, Miranda. And I think we can also send it down to Cariana right now, who is standing by with Carrie Kepler. Cariana.
Hi guys, I'm here with Carrie Kepler. She did an amazing job on that last workout. I had you peg Carrie for doing something amazing. So tell us how that felt.
That felt great.
You love to run. So, and how'd that second part of the workout work out? What was that your strategy? Did it work for you? Tell us about it.
Yeah, I didn't stick to my strategy, and I actually told myself before I took off, I was like, just stick to your game plan. And I let the idea that my grip and my hands were kind of fatigued get in the way of a jerk, which it shouldn't have. So I didn't stick to the game plan. I'm at 135, not a PR at all. That's all right.
Yeah, I mean, we weren't really thinking. Were you thinking you were going to get that PR? I mean, you looked strong, and the mental game. Talk to us about coming out of that run and that mental piece for you. Did you feel confident? Were you? I mean, I know you said your grip was a little questionable, but did you feel strong and like you were doing good?
Yeah, I wanted to catch my breath, so I kind of actually walked past the line before my 90 seconds went, which I was fine with. I should have walked straight over again and stuck a heavier load on. And after that, I think time was pressing, so I just said stick some and do one, stick some and do one. I didn't think I was going to PR, but I definitely thought I'd get at least 155. But
well, we were all very impressed, and it's going to move you up, and we're looking forward to what you got in store for us today. So go get some shade. Back to you guys in the booth. Thanks.
All right, thank you so much, Cariana. That was a fantastic interview as well. Thanks to Miranda Oldroyd, who was speaking to our leader at this point. That's Samantha Briggs out of Leeds, UK. And as I said, I've been to that city. A lot of fun in that city. In fact, I've got a story about a New Year's Eve there that I'd like to share with you, Kim, but I can't. But only Justin and Bill. I'll tell you guys later, maybe tonight. But anyway, back to the race again. This is the third and final heat of the second event of the 2010 CrossFit Games. It in very sunny, beautiful Carson, California at the Home Depot Center. And of course, the extraordinary time to be was set by Samantha Briggs in the second heat. These are the athletes that performed best, the fastest times in last night's first competition. So we are looking at Michelle Kinney right now. Again, nice and easy around the track. Difficult to gauge exactly when you're looking at the athlete this close, the distance that they have to cover. They have to do three laps around a 400-meter track. And of course, Michelle Kinney used to run cross country in college. And we are looking at these athletes, the first athletes. They have completed their first 3 laps. It's a 1,200-meter run. And the current leader right now is third from last night. Again, if you are just joining us, this is the women's event, the final heat on the second day. There's Kristen Clever swinging and beautifully done. The kettlebell having to go overhead and stay vertical overhead. And they are having to do 63 of these. And after they do the 63 again, just to bring everybody up to date, if you are joining us as well, this is the third and final heat of the second event for the women. The men yet to begin competing today. They will begin right after these particular heats. And again, the workout we're looking at is a modified Helen on steroids, as Pat Sherwood refers to it. The first leg, a 1,200-meter run. Kettlebell swings, 63 of them. This is one of the reasons why several of the athletes are in the medical. The 63 kettlebell swings, why some athletes right now in the medical tent. And we should note right now, Samantha Briggs, the leader, setting the pace in the second heat. That run, the run we just saw completed, already a minute faster than that. So the elite athletes from last night facing off against the elite athletes.
41.
about the same pace. My
39 for
apologies
Kristen
there. Made a slight mistake here in the booth with the clock in front of us. So again, about on the same pace as the preceding heat, but far more athletes in this particular heat are on that same pace that Samantha Briggs set in heat number 2. So again, just to get you caught up, the kettlebell component here, 63 kettlebell swings, then 36 pull-ups. Then we'll move on to 800 meters, 42 kettlebell swings, 24 pull-ups. They drop off that bar. The heat, the hands drop off the bar, then they have a 400-meter run, 21 kettlebell swings, 12 pull-ups.
And we have the athletes now on the KB swings, some various techniques. We had just had some footage of Christy Phillips there, adding a little jump into that KB swing. And if that's helping propel the hips further to get that KB overhead, if it's she's just trying to get every last rep.
Annie Thorsdottir moves her pull-up.
We have some KB systems I guess people use that are more hip centered, some more leg centered. But whatever strategy happens to work for every athlete, we can have a theory or a painted picture of how it should be. But when it all comes into play, you're going to use what works for you the best.
And we are looking at Michelle Kinney, and Michelle Kinney is in the lead. And looking at her statistics from last night, Michelle Kinney came in at 8th last night, and very, very fast time, 9:43. And she's taking the lead in this particular heat. And remember, the fastest pace from the preceding heat, several of these athletes are on that pace. And Kristen Clever is looking to really take it up a notch. Those were perfectly performed butterfly kips. And we only saw Carrie Kepler do that in the preceding hits. We have just moved away. We were just zooming in on Annie Thorsdottir. Anybody who tuned in on the CrossFit Games site to watch her performance in the European regionals saw her efficiently moving through those butterfly kips. She loves the butterfly kips. She's done a lot of pole vaulting, pulling her body weight up to that height. Nice and smooth. And Annie got the thumbs up. She is on the track, and she is also a good runner. And she is now our leader, very clearly so. Again, a very easy-looking runner. We saw this last year at the 2009 games, and she looks to be enjoying this. A bigger, powerful athlete, but one of the things that she says she likes doing most are the butterfly kipping pull-ups. And there she is shaking it out because she knows what lies ahead. Not just 800 meters on the track, but another 42 kettlebell swings before 24 pull-ups. And you hear that cheer. That is for Kristen Clever. She is off the pull-up bars, and again running very efficiently. Remember, this is a 3-day event. It is consistency and sustainability. You can have a winner standing atop the podium on the final day, having come in 3rd in every single event because their performance is so consistent across the board.
And we have Annie, who now is about 15 seconds ahead. She came off that pull-up bar, shaking one of her hands, looking. I can't help but wonder if she has a rip on one of those hands, and then we'll have to power through them. We have some athletes that choose to tape up, as we call it in gymnastics world. You can have with tape grips, or some that decide to go barehanded, and some also decide to use a different amount of chalk.
And Annie, of course, just to bring everybody up to speed, was in 12th place after last night. But everything to gain here. Again, this is a completely different event, time domain, than we saw last night, where we had some of the top athletes like Kristen Clever getting times right around the 5-minute mark for the females. And Annie Thorsdottir having a very difficult time last night with the muscle ups, just as she did in 2009, where she could string together a grand total of 1. Last night she was able to string together a lot. But we have Annie Thorsdottir. Again, it's a story of consistency. If she can cycle through her kettlebell swings as efficiently as Kristen Clever cycles through them, then we are going to see a completely different makeup as we go into the next event. We don't even know when or what the next event is. Kristen Clever, a very compact but efficient runner, and a much taller, stronger, heavier, not stronger, much taller, heavier athlete in Annie Thorsdottir, continuing to move around the track and lapping the slowest of the competitors who just came off the bars a few seconds ago. I can't see who that athlete is from where our vantage point is, but of course Annie Thorisdottir trying to hang on to the lead, no longer extending that lead over Kristen Clever, but we hope to bring you an update in terms of where her time sits relative to Samantha Briggs, who has the time to beat from heat
Annie's
number
lead
2.
is cut down to 5 seconds. Kristen Clever trying to pass her.
Now that lead, Dave Castro is referring to a lead in the heat, not to a lead overall in the event. Samantha Briggs still has the official time, and we are getting very close to
Previous
being,
fastest time, 18:30 by Samantha Briggs.
18:30, we've just heard from Dave Castro, is the time to beat.
Kristen making her move.
Kristen Clever on Annie's heels.
We've got Kristen Clever just a couple strides behind. Very, very different runners, different athletes, different sizes. This is what CrossFit is
Kristen
all
and
about.
Annie coming in
Not
together.
only that, this is what CrossFit's all about. We have an
Kristen
Icelander versus
coming in together.
an athlete from the United States going head to head. They can pick any kettlebell they want. They're
Kristen
going for
Clever.
the closest one. They pick it up, and
Both
let's
swinging at
compare
the
the
same
styles.
time.
And they are going head to head. Literally, they are watching each other, and fairly similar styles. Again, we saw disparate
6
styles
reps for
across
both.
the board, but these two, both quite a bit of, a hip swing, not a big dip at
Both
the knees.
athletes
They
at
are
10.
powering through the hips and throwing that weight overhead and just
Who's gonna put
swinging
the
it
kettlebell down
like
first?
these kettlebells are filled with air.
15.
And we have Dave Castro there watching them swing for swing. And we are right now about 15 seconds behind Samantha Briggs, that extraordinarily efficient runner from the second
22,
heat.
Kristen Clever.
Kristen Clever's at 22. They have to get to 24.
26, Kristen Clever. 26, Annie. 27.
And we are looking at, I guess,
30,
one of the most
Annie.
remarkable components of this particular event, the particular story we're looking at right here. Of course, they're in the middle of 42 kettlebell swings. Kristen Clever blew away the competition by almost 2 minutes in the
30
short
for
couplet
Kristen.
last night. And this is an extraordinarily different time domain. We're talking about a 24-minute time limit for this event that a lot of athletes aren't even going to get to.
40 for
Kristen
Annie.
Clever is increasing her lead
36,
over this
Kristen.
time domain. So we're
Annie's
looking at
over the pull-ups.
some of the best and extraordinarily well-rounded athletes out there, but it is Annie Thorisdottir who did not step away to chalk up again, but she
Kristen
continues to
moving over
look
to
at her
pull-ups.
hands. And Kim, you noticed that the first thing she did when she dropped off that bar on the first round, first thing she did was look at her hands, and
Yeah.
you're thinking tear.
I can't help but wonder if she's ripped, and if she has, you'd never know it. But that if she did that raw skin grinding against that bar.
Annie, 10.
That was a 10.
14
Yeah,
more
that
for
was 10
Annie.
pull-ups for Annie
And we have-
in that kip, and Kristen Clever is just about to address the bar
Yeah,
here too.
I believe we have from down from our control booth. I believe Annie's probably, about 20 seconds behind where Samantha was at this point.
18 for Annie.
Kristen just looking
10 for
so
Kristen.
efficient with those pull-ups.
And it's also, let's not forget, there is another component, a weight component. And let's, we are looking at some extraordinary pictures being pulled
One
together
more for
for you.
Annie.
If you're joining us from home, from just about anywhere in the world, the two top
Annie's up.
athletes are head-to-head, side by
Time to
side
beat
on your screen there,
18:30.
just as
Previous
Annie
time to beat
Thorisdottir.
18:30.
And because of those cyclical pull-ups, the butterfly pull-ups that Annie Thorisdottir used there, she is now ahead of Samantha Briggs as she picks up the run. She picked up 35 seconds in those pull-ups, and she is on the track, an efficient runner. But remember,
Kristen's
Samantha
off.
Briggs was making up time on the track. We'll have to wait and see whether Kristen Clever, who was off the bar right there, whether they will be able to make up time as Samantha Briggs was able to,
Both on the
because she
final lap.
accelerated through her runs, while these two athletes, it looks like Kristen Clever is still accelerating here. But this is one time around the track. This is the shortest run. This is a regular Helen leg, so 400 meters, and then 21 kettlebell swings, and then 12 pull-ups, and then you have 90 seconds to establish a max overhead. That is the other component. This is a time and load workout. The time to beat on the far top right of your screen, 18 minutes and 30 seconds. Samantha Briggs, 175 pounds, and that, I believe, was established in the previous heat by Kelly Jo Smith 175 pounds. So different athletes establishing different records in different heats, and we still have yet to see somebody win on both sides of the scale here in terms of both time and weight.
Annie about to start her next set of kettlebell swings.
We had Annie see a little while ago to kind of take a look behind her, seeing how far
She looks
Kristen
back
was.
to see where Kristen's at.
And we have Annie Thorsdottir, and she is just about to pick up the kettlebell. They call it a commanding lead, but anything could happen. You still have 21 kettlebell swings, 12 pull-ups, and you have one of the fittest athletes on the planet, just 15, 25, maybe 30 seconds behind here, addressing the weights. And as I said, going into it, we were discussing the 20-second lead that Annie had on Samantha Briggs from the previous heat going into the run, but Samantha Briggs able to accelerate in that run. And we are looking at one of the most extraordinary things you're likely to see this weekend. And this weekend, not all that old. Two of the best athletes in the world going head-to-head, not just head-to-head, they are face-to-face here. Kettlebell to kettlebell, counting out. They have 21 of these kettlebell swings, 20 kettlebell swings for Annie Thorsdottir. She moves off to the bar. She's shaking out her hands. A bit of worry here in the control room. We're not down there looking at her hands, but Kim Mull's pointing out that she can go to any bar she wants. She picked a bar that was closest to the bar, because she is going to have to pick up a weight and go overhead.
Reps.
And we now have Kristen Clever.
Kristen Clever is moving to her bar.
I'm on the edge of my seat, Marty, and we're not even.
And this is only the second event of what's going to be a long weekend.
17:53.
17:53. That is the new time to beat. Annie Thorsdottir has established the fastest time in this. That is the unofficial time, 17:53. Annie Thorsdottir, and she is also a strong athlete. Let's see how she does as she gets to the bar. And 95 pounds, just wanted to establish that she knew she could do it. She wanted a weight in the books, so regardless of what happens, if she pulls a hamstring or something else and can't do a second lift, at the very least, she's got 95 pounds in the books. Kristen Clever, beautiful lifter. We are going to see some extra.
175.
18:24 is right now unofficially the second fastest time, and that is held by Kristen Clever. And of course, we have the fastest established time in the 17-minute range by Annie Thorsdottir, 17:52, I believe it was, 17:53, I believe it was. And we have a completely different approach from Kristen Clever. She slapped on the weight and went overhead wide grip from the back rack position. 125 for Kristen Clever there. That, again, is unofficial. The athletes having to rack and load their own bars. And it looks like Annie Thorsdottir racking on some more. She's going to go perhaps from the front rack position. And she's running out of time. She needs to put some new weight on there and balance that weight out. And she'll have one more chance to establish a high for her, perhaps a personal best. And we have Kristen taking that breath, taking it in. That is a lot of weight on the bar. We're going to have to wait and see what that weight is. The weight to beat, 175 pounds. I
think we should point out now, after WOD 2A for Kristen, she has a total of 3 points for the WODs now.
Kristen Clever
unofficially, of course.
Kristen Clever going for a lot. So Dave Castro tried to work out for us. And we have another lift, and we're going to have to wait and see what that number is. We're looking at Kristen Clever.
And he got 165, 10 pounds off the highest for the day.
We're waiting for word from Dave Castro on what Kristen Clever managed to lift. I don't think she was even counting. She was just making sure the weight was even on both sides of the bar. So we had Annie Thorsdottir, the fastest time of all, and 10 pounds shy of the heaviest. We had Kristen Clever, who came off the bar just a few seconds.
Kristen Clever got 195.
195 for Kristen Clever. At the end of 3 events,
Kristen Clever is taking first in 2 and second in 1 to maintain the overall lead.
There's Kristen Clever. Again, a smile for everybody. Happy just to be competing and enjoying what she's doing every step of the way. A lot of athletes And we have Annie at 165, of course, as we announced. 195 for Kristen Clever, which puts her first in 2 events. Remember, this is a 2-part event. We're looking at Heather Bergeron right now.
3 minutes remaining.
Beautiful lift. That is up, and that is disappointing because she is going to have to clean that if she wants another lift. And she took that up so efficiently. You got to believe that she wanted to put a little bit more weight on for one more attempt, but she could not keep the rack on her back, but safely let it drop off. You can do a lot of damage to your shoulders trying to hold on to a bad position. That was 125 pounds for Heather, and well below her max. She had a lot more left in her. Let's see if she can perhaps clean it and get it up.
205 for Kristen.
I believe she hit 168, I believe, at our regional, and that was a 3-rep max within a 40-second window.
Let's just bring you a clarification. 205 pounds for Kristen Clever. That is the weight to beat, and well, that is the weight that is now unbeatable.
2 minutes remaining.
Unless one of these other very strong athletes, and Rebecca Voigt is a strong athlete, as is Stacy Tovar. And let's see if they can get up there. 135 for Heather Bergeron. Again, she had to drop that weight, and she didn't have to drop it, but she dropped it and had to clean it back up. So that took a lot of time. These athletes all have to re-rack and put their own weight on. They have to manage their own bars. 205 is the load to beat. Kristen Clever. We had Iceland Annie Thor's daughter, coming in with the fastest time, and she managed to put 165 pounds overhead. So we are establishing perhaps some new additions close to the top of the leaderboard. Kristen Clever still very much in full command of the top spot, but some other athletes getting very close to going up. Rebecca Voigt, who works out with Kristen Clever, they lift heavy together, they enjoy what they do, they benefit from each other's company and working out. And let's get a number on Rebecca Voigt, and we'll hear that. Stacy Tovar, very strong athlete. All of these athletes, remember, if there's a 24-minute time cap on the running kettlebell swing and pull-up component, and Stacy Tovar loves the lifts. China Cho, again, 165, matching Annie Thor's daughter, but did not match her in terms of the first component of event number 2, which is the first event of day 2 here at the 2010 Games. Again, if you're just joining us, we're looking at Jessica Pamanian.
Phenomenal clean and jerk over at the Northeast Regional.
And Stacy Tovar likes the heavy lifts, very strong athlete. And that 15 seconds is for the 24-minute time limit on the run portion of this workout, if you're just joining us. From that point, if you're still on the track, you still have 90 seconds to establish a 1-rep max. So let's see if any of the athletes are still out there on the track. And we are looking at, I believe that is Stacy Smith. That athlete, I believe
there. That's Lindsay Smith.
Lindsay Smith.
From CrossFit Central in Austin, Texas.
And Stacy Tovar gets the thumbs up for that particular lift. And addressing her bar again, perhaps thinks she might have one more left in. And that is, as you say, Lindsay Smith.
I really like Lindsay's demeanor, too. I had a chance to talk to her a little bit last night, and she was just talking about how she was so highly competitive in college that she really just does this for fun.
That's a common refrain for a lot of the top athletes here at the CrossFit Games. Once they're through with their college sports, some of them, of course, were professional athletes for a while afterwards. It is CrossFit where they find that competitive aspect to their lives and their fitness component. And again, the numbers to beat, 205. Who put that number up? That was Kristen Clever. The time to beat, 17:53. The athlete who put that up was Annie Thor's daughter. So she has moved up in the rankings coming into this. We had Kristen Clever in control of first spot, and she maintains that spot.
5 attempt, 10 seconds.
And we have just 10 seconds left with this particular athlete, and we'll be getting full numbers, full statistics for all of these athletes.
Let's give a round of applause for all the women.
We are 3 minutes away from the first men's heat. We are going to see the volunteers roll things out. You are looking at your leader there, Kristen Clever, talking with one of the other athletes talking about what was an incredible performance. She's being congratulated. There's our Miranda Oldroyd walking up to Kristen. And again, a very unique sight you're seeing here is Kristen Clever smiling. Something you don't see quite often. That's Canadian sarcasm. That's irony.
She seems very, very just humbled and just glad to be a part of it.
And right now, why don't we head right down to the stadium floor there, to the track floor where Carrie is standing by with Annie Thorsdar. Carrie.
Hey guys, I'm here with Annie, the Iceland Annie, the legend herself. So Annie, you rocked that workout. Was that something that you enjoyed doing?
Yeah, I really enjoyed doing this. Yeah.
This is your wheelhouse, as they say, right?
I guess so. It could have been better for me, like chest to bar pull-ups.
Yeah.
Or heavier kettlebell, but yeah, it felt good.
Good. And you had a little damage to your hand. They were seeing a lot of rips. When did that happen?
It happened in the first round. In the pull-ups, I was like, oh crap, I have to finish this. But
well, you did an amazing job, and then you came out and did a push jerk that was maybe not your heaviest. You said you could have gone a little heavier, but you did great. And we wish you all the best, and go rest up. We're going to actually go to Miranda and see who she's got for us.
Hey guys, I'm here with Kristen Clever. Just did an awesome job. Took second place overall in the first part of the last workout, and then I believe put more weight than anybody overhead with 205. Okay, so Kristen. Now, of course, we all, a lot of us picked you to win this thing. After 3 events, you have taken first in 2 and second in 1. I'm not shocked. How are you feeling?
I feel pretty awesome right now.
Did you now I know a lot of you girls were having a hard time, maybe the bumpers you're not used to. You didn't know how much weight you were putting over your head, is that right?
Yeah, I didn't know. Well, I had an idea that it was heavy. Because that's all I knew. I was trying to do the math and my calculator wasn't working.
So yeah, as she was going for these attempts, she had no idea what she was putting up. Your PR shouldered overhead right now is 215, is that right?
That's right, 215.
What were you okay, we gotta send it back to Dave. He's gonna intro the guys, but we'll talk to Kristen, I'm sure, much more this weekend. We'll send it out here to Dave.